Welcome to It's Rafiq. In this video, I'll continue the remaining part of chapter 15, that is variable and constant in C, class 9 computer science. In previous video, we have already discussed about tokens, constant and variables. Now here we'll discuss about data types. Variables are declared by the programmer, created object by the compiler and created in the memory by the loader at the runtime. Every variable, the programmer must specify the data types, means which type of data they will store. Data types can be classified under various categories. It can be, mainly there are three data types: primary data types, user defined data types and derived data types. Here we'll not discuss about user defined and derived. We'll discuss only about primary data types. In primary, we'll get mainly integer and float. Inside integer, we'll get integer and character. Inside float, we'll get float and double. And one more we'll get, that is void. Primary data types. Primary data types are also known as fundamental data types. There are different storage requirements for integers, like floating points, characters and strings. So we need to tell the computer what type of data we are going to store. So according to that, they will reserve memory spaces in the memory. Here are the size of primary data types. That one you have to remember for exam. To store a character, will require 1 bytes of memory. It can be signed or unsigned. To store a integer, will require 2 bytes of information. To store short integer, 2 bytes of information, 2 bytes of memory. For long integer, 4 bytes, float 4 bytes, double 8 bytes and long double will require 10 bytes of memory space. Data type modifiers. The integer data types comes like char, short, int and long. Can be either signed or unsigned depending on the range of numbers they store. Signed data type can store both positive and negative values. Unsigned data type can store only positive values or zeros. Here just remember, signed means before the number or the character, plus or minus sign will appear. In unsigned data type, there is no sign. There will be no positive or negative sign, and unsigned can store only positive numbers, and signed data type can store both positive and negative. The sign and unsigned specified is mentioned before the data type as shown, like unsigned int roll number. For signed, we'll write sign int balance. Declaration of variable. How we'll declare a variable? In order to use a variable in C program, one must first declare it, specifying which type of data it can store. For example, int roll means this roll variable will store integer type of data. Integer type of data means numbers like 1, 2, 3 and so on. Float marks. Here marks variable will store floating points numbers like 22.3, 24.5 etc. If we have to declare more than one variable at same time, there are two ways of doing. I'll show you the example how we can declare more than one variable at one time. So suppose I have to declare two variables, integer a, b. This way we can declare two variables together, or we can declare this way also, integer x, integer y. But it works when the data type is same, if all the numbers are integer or character. But if one number is integer, another one is floating point, then we have to declare it separately, like integer roll number then character C. When the data types are different, like here in roll number the data type is integer and for C data type is character, so we have to declare them in separate lines. But if the data type is same, then we can declare in same line as in the first line. In int a comma, to separate the variables we'll use comma, and when all the variables are finished, then semicolon sign. Initialization of a variable. When we declare a variable, its value initially undetermined. Means when we declare a variable, there is no value. The method of assigning value and defining data types at same time is called initialization. Format is data type, identifier and initial value. For example, int roll 5, float marks 57.5. In roll variable the number 5 is stored, and here in marks variable 7.5 is stored. For example, here I want to initialize the value of a and b, then I can write int a equal 10, int b equal 6, float f equal 57.5, character c equal c. When we initialize the value of a character, we have to write it within single quotes. That's why I am writing the C within single quotes. Now, data type conversion. In C there are two types of data type conversion. They are implicit and explicit. Implicit conversion. When we mix data types in an expression, for example, a equal 5 plus 3.25. Here 5 is integer and 3.25 is floating point. So the result will come in floating point. Always the results comes in the higher size. It is a valid C statement. Whenever the data type are mixed in an expression, C performs the necessary conversions automatically. This process is called implicit. Means this conversion is done by the compiler itself, so we don't have to do anything. This conversion is implicit conversion. Whenever smaller size data type is mixed with wider type or size, it converts to wider type. It is called integral winding conversion. Like for example, this only, here integer and float are mixed, so the data type of A will be float, not integer. Explicit conversion. It is also called typecasting. Typecasting allows you to convert a given data type to another. For example, we have a variable integer a, we have another variable float f 3.14, and here we wrote a equal int f, means the float variable is converted to integer. So the value of a will be only 3. The remainder part or the decimal part will be excluded or removed. Reading and writing a character. C provides many functions to input data into a program. For input and output can be either formatted or unformatted. Formatted means space, tab and all. Unformatted will just write the characters, will not do any design and decorations. Some unformatted input-output functions are getSir. It is used to accept a character from the user. Gets getch. It is used to accept a character from the user. Here getSir and gets both are different. In gets we can see the character when the user is typing, but in gets we can't see the character. Normally gets is used to halt the screen. Generally the output of C program is displayed in just in microseconds. So if we want to halt the output screen so that we can see the output, then we can use gets function at end of the program, and puts to accept a character or to display a character on the screen. These all functions are defined under stdio.h file. So at beginning of the program only we used to write include stdio.h. That file contain all these functions, so we have to include that file. The first line should be that one. For formatted input and output we'll get scanf. The scanf function is used to accept input data from the user through the keyboard. The general format is scanf control string, comma, ampersand variable 1, ampersand variable 2, and so on. In control string we'll write what type of data we want to take as input. Suppose I want to take integer type of data or decimal type of data, then we'll write D. If we want to take input as floating type of data, then percentage F. If we want to accept a character, then percentage C. And after that the name of the variable where I want to store that data. In this code, percentage D stores the value of roll number and percentage F store the value of marks in floating point. Formatted output printf. The printf function is used to display the value stored in variables. The general format is printf control string variable 1 variable 2, and as scanf here also the control string is same for character C, for decimal numbers D, floating points F or E, and for short H. The control string can be character that are printed on the screen, format specifications, skip sequence characters. Specifying field width. Let's have this example practically. We'll write a simple C program that will accept a number using format specifier. So the first line will be include stdio.h. Then the second line void main or int main. Then curly braces on and off. The first line I will write I will declare variable, three variables, int, a, b, and c. Now I will accept the value of a, b, and c. So first I will give a message to the user that enter three numbers. So printf enter three numbers and /n to enter a new line. Now semicolon, next line, scanf, bracket on off. Here will all the numbers are integers, so we'll write percentage d only, percentage d, percentage d, percentage d, and comma the address of the variable where I want to store the values, like a, again comma, and % b and % c, semicolon. Next function will write printf to display the value of the variable, printf. So first we'll write a percentage 5d. 5d means the first number will occupy 5 spaces, whether I will enter a 1-digit number, 2-digit number, 3-digit number, and so on, but still it will occupy 5 spaces. Then the next number percentage 3d, next number will occupy 3 spaces. Then the fourth number percentage 4d, next number will occupy 4 spaces. then after quotation comma and name of the variable which value I want to display, A, B, C. So here a little bit difference is there in scanf and printf function. In scanf function we write the variable name with ampersand symbol, but in printf function we don't write the ampersand symbol, we write only the names. After that gets to halt the screen for few seconds, then return 0. After that save the program, then build. Here enter the first number is 2, next number 4, third number 8. So here you can see the 2 is displayed taking 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 occupied 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and 8 occupied 4 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now suppose I want to display the 5 in left hand side. Normally the format specify display the number in right hand side, but I want to display in right hand side, not left hand. Not right hand, I want to display from left hand. For that we can write minus sign, minus 5d. Now let's build and run the program. Suppose here I enter the number is 479. So here you can see the 4 is displayed in left hand side, but it still occupied 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Till here spaces are for the first number, and here 1, 2 and 3. These 3 spaces are for the number 7. Now let's have an example with floating numbers. Suppose we have the variable c in floating point, float c. So while we are taking input of floating numbers, we'll write %f, and here also while displaying we'll write in place of d %f. And floating numbers we can write %0, point, how many decimal points I want. Suppose I want 3 decimal points, %.3f. So let's run the program. Enter the number. First number is integer only, so I'll enter an integer 2, then 5. The third number is floating number, so 12.43456 So the output is 2, 5, 12.3456. Here there is no space between 5 and 12 because I have not given any spaces, and the number 7 is not displayed because I wrote %.3f. I have not written the space. I have defined the number of floating point as 3, so that's why it's displaying only 3 number after the decimal point. Now if I want any spaces between the second number and third number, then we can write like this way. Suppose I want 5 spaces for the whole numbers, so I can write 5.3f. Now let's run the program. 4, 7, 12.456789. This 5 is too small. Actually it count all the numbers, so I have already entered more than 5 digit number, so it ignores. Suppose I'll take as 10, %10.3f. So build now. First number 2, second number 5, third number 7.45678. So here you can see the first number is true and it displayed in right hand side or left hand side because I have given minus sign. 5, then 7.457, but I have entered here 45678, but it ignores the remaining digits, and the 6 is converted to 7 because the number 6 is rounded off, as the 7 is more than 5, so it's rounded off to 67 is rounded off to 70. That's why the 6 is converted to 7. Now let's change a number. Let's give an smaller than 50 numbers and see how the output comes. Like 2, 6, 5.54321. So here there is no change because 32 is smaller than 50, so it will be not rounded off. So this way we can do format specifier. We can use format specifier in C++ or C programs. In next video we'll discuss about the application based questions and practical programs. See you in next video. Till then, take care and bye.